Hi, welcome to Tech Talk with Gino. Today, we're going to compare the Galaxy S4 to the iPhone 5S, which I don't currently have. I think the Galaxy S4 is the better phone since that's why I own it right now. There are many reasons why I think it's better. One, I do like how you can use it as a TV remote. There's like all these little things on it you really can't see that I would like to show, but there's a little infrared thing right in the front, and then you can use it as a remote control and turn on your TV, change the channel, all that. And then you can say like the iPhone 5S has like the fingerprint sensor for the home button. Well, there's a lot of stuff on this that I think just it's like why even who cares? Like back in 2011, Motorola on one of their droids, instead of having the fingerprint sensor on the home button, they had it like I think it was up here on the top. You would like slide your thumb like that and it would unlock. Obviously, it did not catch on back then because they don't use it anymore. But some other things like the iPhone 5S, you say like, well, it has Siri and stuff. It has I'm trying to remember like iOS 7. Everyone says like that's great, which I think it's worse than iOS 6. This has Android. Right now it's running Android Jelly Bean. It will be getting KitKat sometime soon. I'm not too sure when, which is gonna kind of be like how iOS 6 was and iOS 7. It's gonna come drastically change it. Hopefully not for the worse. But the Galaxy S4, it has a better camera rated at 13 megapixels. It also has a 5-inch display instead of the iPhone 5S's 4-inch. Some people do think this is too big. Sometimes I think it's too big. If it gets any bigger, it's gonna start getting ridiculous, I think. But some other things with the Galaxy S4, which I definitely love, is I can go through my pictures right now by if I wave at my whoops this way. Come on. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. That's why. Oh no, it's not doing it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. There it goes. See, it's harder to do it if I'm not really facing it right, but you can just go through pictures by waving your hand like that. Um, some other things that the Androids do have, which I personally like for the better, is that you can have you can customize droids to the extreme, basically. Like I have a live wallpaper, which you obviously can't see because it's so tiny, but it's like the Matrix. It has all these like cool little things flying down it. I don't think iOS 7 has given you the option to do that yet. I don't know really anything since I have an iPod Touch 4th gen. That's the last iOS device I've owned. But there's a couple things with the Galaxy S4, like if like for the technical people, if you want a phone that's really like fast and that can handle lots of stuff, I have like a little thing on here so I can always keep track of how the phone's like processor is. It's really tiny, but you can see all the little graphs of it like shooting up, how hard it's working, all that stuff. And I got the S4 because I usually push my phone to the limit by playing the hardest like HD games, like hardcore HD games. I even have like a game, not a GameCube emulator. Well, I do have a GameCube emulator. I have a Nintendo 64 emulator, and I can play all like the old classic games. You can kind of do that on the iPhone, but I hear people say you have to like kind of glitch it or something to do it. This just works right away because Google really does not care. But another main reason that I think is better with the Galaxy is you can just take the back cover off like so, and if this battery's dead, you can go flip, slap in another one, and it's good. It also have I have a 32 gig SD card, and the phone itself is a 32 gig, so I have 64 gigs, and I paid a lot less than getting the iPhone 5S with 64 gig because the card I got it last year, no, 2 years ago for my Galaxy S3, so I could still use it. And I got it for $20 at Best Buy when it was on sale. That's a lot less cheaper than I'm not too sure how the iPhone price range is for going up on gigabyte size, but it's like instead of paying a couple $200 difference, that was just $20, and now I have 32 more gigs of storage. Um, there's some other things about. I guess I would go in the iPhone's direction about how that could be a better phone for some people. Some people say the Android operating system is very complicated. Yes, I do think it is too. Sometimes, like, there's all these weird submenus and stuff that is hard to get to. The droids can get viruses, which whoops, which is a thing that is kind of bad. But if you're smart about it and not like just download random stuff, you can get antivirus stuff, and it just does everything by itself. I never got a virus yet over the past 2 years I had a droid. I know only one person who did, and it did destroy their phone completely. It like literally bricked it, and they had to get a new one. But I never had any problems with it. But with the iPhone, you would never have to worry about that because of how their operating system is made. It's like impenetrable to viruses. Um, I guess I could go on to say the iPhone, like, yeah, it is, I gotta say, yeah, the user interface on the iPhone is so much easier, I guess. But I don't like how iOS 7 looks now. I always liked how you can change so much on this. It's just like there's all these little things I can say, I guess. I don't know. But another thing with if you do switch to a Galaxy or any Samsung phone, I remember when I switched from my iPod, it told me you could change like it was weird when you download Samsung Kais, which is like iTunes for the Samsungs. It's like, well, do you want to transfer everything from your iPhone or Apple device or any phone? I think it even did BlackBerry. Who uses BlackBerry anymore? Um, you could transfer everything from that, and it gets put on. So everything that was on my iPod, including music, which I bought through iTunes and crap, was all put onto this, and then it's just like where I left off. Of course, I got rid of most of that stuff because now I really don't care because all the Apple stuff I don't need anymore. Um, Another thing I just did remember, yes, the App Store on the, if I can open it, the App Store is a lot less than I guess you could say the iOS one. Whoops, not music. The games, there is a lot less things on it. Like I can't think of any apps right now that I don't have that the iPhones do because I really don't get apps anymore. Um, but yeah, I do hear a lot of people say, "Yeah, I can't get this app that's on my Droid, but my friend's iPhone has it." I hear people say that all the time, but I never ran into that problem with mine. Um, Other than that, it really depends, I guess, on how you would look at the phones. Like, I really wanted this because the iPhone 5 and the 5S, they look exactly the same. I don't like how all the iPhones look the same. All the droids, like the Galaxy S4 and the S3, yeah, they kind of look a little similar. The only difference is this is a tad bigger, and I guess nothing else really changed except they changed the back. But it's at least they changed it from the 3 to the 4. The 5 just has like no home button right here, and I know the flash was a little different on the 5, and that was it, and on the 5 and the 5S. But I like how the droids, they all look different. You can customize it a lot more. Like it's more individual, I guess you can say. Um, but it all comes down to how you want your phone and how you want it to be, I guess. It's just all like personal choice, but I always think droids will be the superior phone over iPhones forever because there's just all these little things that Samsung can do. That Samsung is doing. Like I was just showing you how I could wave at it. There's other features like if I'm looking at my screen and then I look this way and I'm watching YouTube or something, it pauses. Uh, when read, when I read and get to the bottom of a page, like it sees your eyes going like this when you read, and it's like, oh, you got to the bottom of the page, it's gonna scroll up. There's all those little things like that it has, and it's like, where's Apple and all this like great technology? But yeah, so that's about it. I would say the Galaxy S4 is probably the best phone of 2013. The S5 is still about to come out sometime. I forget. The S4 came out March or early. No, yeah, I think it was March or April, somewhere around there. And then 6 months later, the iPhone comes out. So we're gonna have to see if Samsung can. I think the 4 already beat the 5S, even though it's older than it. But let's see if they're gonna ramp it up again and put the iPhones back in their place because They should. That was Tech Talk with Gino.
Hi, welcome to Movie Talk. My name is Matt Sullivan. Today we're going to be talking about 5 film adaptations based on Stephen King's novels. Okay, number 5 on the list is The Green Mile. It is a 1999 drama film directed by Frank Darabont. The movie takes place in the South in a fictional death row jail in 1935. The movie features a group of guards managing the executions of several criminals that committed heinous crimes. Tom Hanks stars as Paul, who is the main prison guard, who meets one of the prisoners named John Coffrey, who's convicted of raping and killing 2 innocent girls. Spoiler alert, halfway through the movie, it turns out that John Coffrey did not actually rape or kill anybody. It was another prisoner called Wild Bill. Throughout the movie, John does several miracles, like he cures somebody of a disease and he brings a rat back to life. And he also makes Paul see that he did not commit any crimes. However, when Paul does offer to release John literally out of the prison, just let him walk out, John says that he can't deal with the pain and suffering that he'll have to endure. And during this period, lynchings were common, and he was African American, so he did not want to deal with that. At the end of the movie, John Coffrey is executed, and the time fast forwards to 1999, where Paul is in his about 108, and he thinks that the reason why he's alive for so long is because he killed one of God's miracles, that being John Coffrey. Number 4, Misery, directed by Rob Reiner, is a 1999 psychological horror film that takes place between Colorado and New York. The movie features Paul Sheldon, who's a successful author who writes fictional novels. Paul Sheldon gets in a car wreck on the way home because while he's driving, his car slips on some ice and he gets in an accident. Paul is saved by Ann Wilkes, who is his number 1 fan. This fandom turns into obsession when Anne makes Paul rewrite part of a novel that he was working on because her favorite character, Misery, dies. The character's name is Misery, and the movie's name is Misery, so it's the whole point of the movie. Anne finds out that Paul rewrote a scene that she didn't approve of, and turns out that she broke both of his ankles so he would be bedridden longer, so he had more time to write the novel that she wants. At the end of the movie, Paul gets his hands on lighter fluid and burns the novel that he's been working on that Anne was basically structuring for him. Paul and Anne have a weird tiff thing, and Paul kills Anne. I forget what it was with, but he kills her. And then he gets better. He gets back to society and becomes another civilian, even though he was a civilian. Yeah. At the end of the movie, another girl comes up to him and says that she is his number 1 fan. He gets very upset by this, and then the movie ends. Number 3, Carrie. Carrie is a 1976 film based on the 1974 novel. It is actually one of King's first published novels, as well as the first film adaptation from one of his first novels. The movie features shy Carrie, who is 17 years old and lives with an abusive mother. Her mother is very religious and locks her into a room to pray every day. At school, Carrie is bullied by her classmates during several instances in the movie, as well as mention that she was bullied years before that. Throughout the movie, the bullies' motives were pretty much unclear, but it's basically implied that they were just doing it for fun. Carrie finds out that she has telekinetic powers, and she eventually uses it against her tormentors. She ends up spraying her entire grade with a fire hose. The water from the fire hose gets electrified, and it causes a fire, which basically melts her entire class. From there, she actually walks home. The only person who survived the encounter there is her friend Sam, who was the only person who understood her and wasn't in the room at the time of the fire. Number 2, Stand By Me. It's a 1986 drama comedy directed by Rob Reiner, who also directed Misery. The film is based on King's novel, The Body. Stephen King didn't write a novel called Stand By Me. It's called The Body. And The Body was adapted to a movie called Stand By Me for some reason. I don't know why. That's the only movie that they didn't name the name after. All right, the movie features a group of young kids. I think they're about 10 years old, and they're in search of a dead body for bounty. The whole movie is them on a perilous adventure against the odds of teenagers trying to get the body first. At the end of the movie, they make it to the body, and they realize that the teenagers have been following them the whole time, and one of the young kids has a gun. So nobody gets the body. He just calls the police, and then they get the body for them because he thinks that was the right thing to do. Number 1 is The Shining, starring Jack Nicholson. The movie takes place in a remote area, and it features a family who takes care of a hotel, and they basically are in charge with maintenance of the building as well as safety precautions. The hotel is in the middle of nowhere, and the father, who is Jack Nicholson, gets cabin fever and goes nuts. He ends up going crazy and actually killing, I believe it is the superintendent of the building when he comes to inspect the building. He kills him with an axe in the chest. It's pretty scary stuff. And supposedly, one of the children, some of his kids are actually experiencing the supernatural. His children actually get, some say, possessed by ghosts of the hotel. Okay, at the end of the movie, the mother and her son get away from the hotel. They run away, and Jack Nicholson ends up freezing to death. So the haunted hotel basically drove the husband mad, trying to kill the family, and Jack Nicholson freezes to death. Okay, that was my top 5 film adaptations based on Stephen King novels. This has been Movie Talk with Matt, and have a nice night.
Hello, I'm Caroline. I'm here to talk about the Oscar nominations today. The program airs on March 2nd. That's a Sunday. Starts at 8, I do believe, goes to 11. I'm going to start off by talking about the Best Supporting Actress category. The nominations for Best Supporting Actress are Sally Hawkins for Blue Jasmine, Jennifer Lawrence for American Hustle, Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave, Julia Roberts for August, Osage County, and June Squibb for Nebraska. Now, the Supporting Actress category this year is a bit of a controversial area because Jennifer Lawrence has continually won. She won the Golden Globe for this category. However, a lot of people are saying that it should belong to Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave. Personally, I agree. I think Jennifer Lawrence won last year. I think she's fantastic in American Hustle, but Lupita Nyong'o did a superb job, especially this is her first time ever acting. They picked her up right out of college to perform in this film, which is outstanding. Who do I think will win? Even though I hope for Lupita, Jennifer Lawrence, I think, is going to beat her out. For Best Supporting Actor, we have Barkhad Abdi from Captain Phillips, Bradley Cooper from American Hustle, Michael Fassbender from 12 Years a Slave, Jonah Hill from The Wolf of Wall Street, and Jared Leto from Dallas Buyers Club. Now, Barkhad Abdi was another plucked off the street, pretty much, actor. It's his first time in a movie. He did a superb job. Everyone nominated did a superb job. If I could pick who I want to win, I'm rooting for Jonah Hill. It's not going to happen, but he did a great job, and I love Jonah Hill. The reason it's not going to happen is because Jared Leto played a transgendered woman in Dallas Buyers Club who had AIDS, and that's just like Oscar bait right there, and he's going to win it. And he did a superb job, too. My mother thinks that he should deserve every award that they have. They're like, just give them all to Jared Leto for Dallas Buyers Club. Anyway, he's going to win. For Best Actress, this category has Amy Adams for American Hustle, Cate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine, Sandra Bullock for Gravity, Judi Dench from Philomena, and Meryl Streep for August Osage County. This was sort of controversial because Emma Thompson wasn't nominated for Saving Mr. Banks. Everybody pretty much assumed that was going to happen. What do you know? Even though I am rooting for Amy Adams from American Hustle, she was my favorite character, and I think she did a great job, I really don't think she's going to win this one. I think it's either going to be Sandra Bullock, who pretty much pulled off an entire movie with Gravity, or Cate Blanchett, who played Woody Allen's modern-day interpretation of Blanche DuBois in Blue Jasmine, which was sort of Streetcar Named Desire. I think probably if Amy doesn't get it, then Cate should deserve it. And I think that Cate will probably get it. Even though Meryl Streep is nominated and Dame Judi Dench is nominated, I think it's going to go to Cate Blanchett. Best Actor, we have Christian Bale from American Hustle, Bruce Dern from Nebraska, Leonardo DiCaprio from The Wolf of Wall Street, Chiwetel Ejiofor from 12 Years a Slave, and Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club. This category is also controversial because they didn't nominate Tom Hanks for Captain Phillips. And I honestly thought that that was a shoo-in. Once I saw that movie, I was like, oh, the movie's not going to get nominated for anything, but Tom Hanks is going to be nominated for the Oscar, and he wasn't. It's shocking. In my personal opinion, I think that he should have been nominated instead of Christian Bale. Even though Christian Bale does a fantastic job in every role he's in, and so does Tom Hanks, I think that the work that Tom Hanks did in Captain Phillips is superior to the work Christian Bale did in American Hustle. Anyway, Christian Bale's not going to win, and Bruce Dern is not going to win. He's Nebraska was kind of a weird movie. Nobody saw it. I didn't see it, and he's not going to win. Leonardo DiCaprio, as much as I would love him to win, is also not going to win. It comes down to between Chiwetel Ejiofor for 12 Years a Slave and Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club. Who do I think will win is Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, and he did a fantastic job. But I think Chiwetel deserves it more. In 12 Years a Slave, he went through quite an ordeal. He wasn't enslaved for 12 years, but he made me believe he was. And even though Matthew McConaughey is going through they call it the McConaissance, I don't know. I just really think this should be Chiwetel's, and he's not going to win it. It's really sad. Now on to the main event, the Best Picture nominations. We have quite a few this year. American Hustle, if you couldn't already guess from the main actor nominations, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Gravity, Her, Nebraska, Philomena, 12 Years a Slave, and The Wolf of Wall Street. My favorite of these movies, even though I haven't seen Nebraska and Philomena, is The Wolf of Wall Street. Because I love Leonardo DiCaprio and I love Martin Scorsese. What do I think should win is 12 Years a Slave. Steve McQueen directed that movie. He's my favorite director that's working currently. He really knows his stuff. He made a fantastic film, and I think it deserves to win. And I hope that it will win. The only other one that's... Okay, well, that's not true, because Gravity was pretty significant in the earlier rounds. People continued thinking that Gravity would win, and then at some award show recently, it tied with 12 Years a Slave for first place. The other controversy is that American Hustle keeps winning things. So it's really between those three. And a lot of people who follow the Oscars closely are saying that we could have our first ever tie for Best Picture, which would be very interesting to see. Philomena is about a woman who is bullied into putting her son up for adoption and goes back when he's an adult to find him. 12 Years a Slave is about a person who was a slave for 12 years. He was captured and coerced into slavery. Wolf of Wall Street is about a man who pretty much from the ground up does all of this illegal stock exchange type deal and makes a ton of money, so much money. And there's a lot of drugs in that movie as well. Just figured I should say that. Nebraska is about an old man who thinks that he won the lottery and tries to make his cross-country journey to collect his prize. Her is about a man in the near future who falls in love with his operating system, like Siri, but like a full person, sort of, except it's a voice. That one was pretty weird. I just saw that the other day. Gravity is about Sandra Bullock in space, lost in space. She has to get back down to Earth. George Clooney's there. He's the best part of that movie. Dallas Buyers Club is about people with AIDS. Matthew McConaughey gets AIDS, even though he's a straight guy, and he like was a redneck pretty much. So he was shocked, and all of his friends excluded him or whatever. As it turns out, you need to get certain drugs that weren't FDA approved to help with AIDS that were better than the drug they were trying to use, which was AZT. As it turns out, that like just made you die more. Yeah, Captain Phillips is about the true life Somali pirates incident, and American Hustle is about the also true life abscam process, where it was an FBI agent used former con men to get other con men in jail. And that is your Oscar show. It's all your Oscar projections and nominations, my personal opinions, me, Caroline, and I'm all set. See you next time.